What took me 50 years to understand, I am going to condense and tell you in the next 10 minutes. I need you to really hear me on this. That thing you keep telling yourself will finally make your life okay. That thing you think will finally make you happy. The truth is, it won't. Whether it is money, a promotion, a dream house, a perfect body, status, or respect from others. My name is Robert. I am 74 years old. I spent most of my life chasing things I believed would fill the hole inside me. Things I thought would make me feel whole. But in the end, all they did was keep me running aimlessly in vain. Now, I am going to show you the trap that most of us are currently caught in for decades. I repeated the exact same sentence over and over again, like a background soundtrack to my life. I promised myself that I would be happy when I got a raise, when I bought a bigger house, when I finally had a large enough savings account in the bank, or when the people around me looked at me with respect. I was certain that I would be at peace once life finally settled down and all the storms passed. But there is a cruel truth that I realized far too late. Every time I reached one of those goals, life immediately threw another one at me. The finish line I was so eagerly running toward was never fixed. It always moved further away the moment I was about to touch it. Satisfaction never stayed for long. It turns out that delaying happiness was the most sophisticated trap I ever set for myself. It took me a long time to understand why I fell into that spiral, and it all truly began with old memories back in Ohio. I grew up in a poor rural area of Ohio in a pure working-class family. My father was a truck mechanic, and my mother worked long hours at a local grocery store. My family wasn't exactly starving, but we always lived surrounded by scarcity and the constant feeling of being looked down upon by others. I can still vividly see the image of my father returning home every evening, with grease-stained hands that could never be scrubbed clean, his back aching from overwork. But what hurt more than anything was how people treated him as if he were invisible, like a man with no value in this society. At the age of 11, witnessing that contempt, a fire was lit inside me. I promised myself that I would never live a life like that. I had to become somebody. I had to make this world admire me and recognize my existence. From then on, I became obsessed with achievement. I threw myself into work like a moth to a flame, working 60 to 70 hours a week without feeling tired. I traded many precious things to fuel that ambition. I was absent from my children's birthday parties, missed school plays, baseball games, and even peaceful Sunday breakfasts with my family. Everything was pushed aside for the goal of becoming a person of status. By the age of 49, I had achieved what I wanted: a regional director at a large logistics company, owning a luxurious private office, driving an expensive car, and people began calling me Mr. Collins. I used this success to try and heal the wounds of being looked down upon during my childhood, believing that the title would mask the insecurities of the past. But at that very moment of glory, a strange feeling began to take over my mind. I remember very clearly one late afternoon, as I sat alone in my luxurious office after hours, through the floor-to-ceiling glass windows. I gazed down at the panoramic view of the city shimmering with lights, where the skyscrapers reflected the prosperity and power I had always craved. I had everything, but in that moment, I suddenly asked myself, is this truly what I traded my entire life to obtain? The feeling at that time was as if I had spent decades persistently climbing a ladder, only to realize upon reaching the final rung that the ladder was leaning against a completely empty wall. I had reached the summit, but all I found was a more beautiful view of the loneliness within my own soul. That truth forced me to re-examine the entire meaning of everything I had been chasing for so long. It took me nearly another 20 years to truly understand what had happened to me. As it turns out, I was never really chasing paychecks, fancy titles, or high social status. What I truly craved was a feeling. I wanted to feel safe, to feel important, and above all, to feel that I was enough. I wasn't chasing success at all, in reality. I was chasing an escape from the insecurities of my childhood. I thought that if I climbed high enough, the fear would vanish. But the truth is, a salary cannot buy a sense of fulfillment, and a director's title cannot heal a lack of self-worth from deep within. External applause can never build a sustainable self-esteem. I kept looking for validation in the outside world as a substitute for the internal value I never gave myself. I mistakenly believed I craved achievement, but what I really wanted was the feeling that I mattered in this world. But the greatest tragedy didn't lie in my career. It lay in the way I carried that mistake into my very own home. Eleanor and I married when we were both very young, walking together through the most difficult days of our youth. To me, Eleanor was not just a wife, but the only companion who truly understood the poverty I so desperately wanted to escape. I always told myself that a man's greatest role was to provide, to be a solid economic pillar. I worked like a madman to bring home a bigger house, luxurious cars, and expensive vacations everywhere for her and the children. Deep down, I believed that as long as I provided a better material life, my family would feel my love. But the truth was, I was never really there. Even when my body was present in the living room, my mind was busy with plans or troubles at the company. I was always in a state of exhaustion and had no mental energy left to listen to my wife's small worries. Everything came to a head when I was 46, when our marriage stood on the brink of collapse. I still vividly remember one evening in the kitchen. Eleanor looked me straight in the eye and said in a choked voice that she didn't need a bigger house. She just needed her husband back. That sentence dealt a heavy blow to my pride. I woke up to the realization that I had made a disastrous mistake between providing and being present. I had spent my whole life bringing comfort to my family, but I forgot to give them myself. Providing someone with a full life is not at all the same as actually being by their side and connecting with them emotionally. I gave them comfort, but I took away the connection they craved. That blindness didn't just appear in my family. I saw it repeated in many other friends of my generation. As I turned 74, I began to observe friends of my generation and recognized a heartbreaking truth about how we age. There is a group of people whose hair has turned white, yet their minds remain imprisoned in never-ending races. They are still tirelessly comparing, still clutching the scorecard of life to measure themselves against the world. I have a friend named George, who is 81 but still cannot stop feeling resentful whenever his more successful younger brother is mentioned, or Linda, a 76-year-old woman I know, who spends every single day complaining about her declining health, her busy children who rarely call, or her pension that is never enough. Their entire lives are a series of grievances because they are still preoccupied with waiting for the outside world to change so they can finally feel okay. They may grow older in age, but their souls have never truly been free. If you still hold on to the habit of measuring your self-worth by external yardsticks, time will only bring wrinkles, not peace. In stark contrast to that bitterness, I have been fortunate enough to witness a different way of living. A lightness that no amount of money can buy. While many people are still caught up in a fierce battle with the dissatisfactions of old age, I found a completely different answer in Frank. He is 82 years old, living in a modest little apartment in Arizona, and is a retired high school teacher. Frank is by no means wealthy, and his health is only average, if not starting to show the signs of decline that come with age. Yet, this man always radiates an energy that leaves me in awe. Every day, he is happily busy tending to his small garden, reading new books, and maintaining an endless curiosity about the world around him. Frank no longer feels the need to prove anything to anyone anymore. He once told me something I will never forget. I spent half my life just trying to be impressive. Now, I'm just trying to be truly awake and present in every single moment I have left. Frank is living proof that peace does not come from a perfect life, but from learning to appreciate what is right in front of us. It was from examples like Frank that I began to redefine what true freedom really means for a human being. I began to realize that true freedom is nothing like what I had imagined in my youth. It doesn't lie in how many digits you add to your bank account, nor is it about gaining admiration from everyone around you. Authentic freedom is when a malicious remark no longer has the power to ruin your day, when you no longer feel the urge to win every comparison with friends or neighbors. It is the feeling when you look in the mirror and no longer see a failure, but simply a human being learning how to grow. It is being able to sit still alone in an empty room without feeling like you lack anything to be happy. Genuine freedom only emerges when the peace in your soul is no longer held hostage by the fluctuations happening in the outside world. But to achieve that freedom, I had to overcome an extremely sophisticated psychological trap, a place where fear always knows how to change its shape to cling to us. I remember very clearly when I was 57 years old, the moment I officially paid off my entire mortgage. At that time, I believed I would shed a massive burden and finally be able to breathe a sigh of relief. However, the peace I had long awaited never arrived. As soon as the worry about the house ended, my mind was immediately invaded by a host of new anxieties. Whether my retirement savings would be enough, what my future healthcare costs would look like, or whether an economic recession might wipe out all the achievements I had painstakingly built. I realized with a shock the bitter truth, that although my living circumstances had significantly improved, my mindset remained stuck in place. Fear never truly disappears, it simply changes its form. Seeking another reason or a new object to cling to, fear does not retire just because you do. It does not leave when your life gets better. It simply moves to a new address within your mind. If you do not change from within, you will forever remain a prisoner of anxiety. No matter how much wealth you possess, this cycle led me to the most important discovery about what we are truly searching for behind all our efforts. I need to make this very clear to you. What I truly craved over the last 50 years was not tangible material things. What I was actually searching for was a sense of safety, self-worth, love, and absolute peace. But my biggest mistake was trying to find those sacred feelings through work performance, productivity, salary figures, or the applause of others. The truth is, you don't desire the promotion as much as you desire the feeling you hope that position will give you. We often confuse the means with the core end, and here is the most important part. Those feelings of fulfillment or peace never need to be granted by anyone or any external achievement. I spent my whole life waiting for life to hand me a permit to feel whole. But that permit never showed up. I had to understand and grant it to myself. You don't need to wait another second to feel worthy. Because happiness is not a reward for your effort, it is an acceptance from within. This awakening also helped me see through a classic illusion that most young people fall for regarding what we call the finish line of life. Young people often hold on to an illusion that someday, when all the storms have passed and everything is settled, they will finally truly begin to live. They wait for an invisible finish line, where every problem is resolved once and for all. However, after 74 years of experience, I can assure you that life does not work that way at all. There will always be a new trouble arising, a new bill to pay, a fresh anxiety budding, or an unexpected loss. Life does not begin when the problems end. In fact, this very moment, with all its messiness, incompleteness, and imperfection, is the only life you have. Do not waste time waiting for a perfection that will never arrive. because if you cannot find peace in the midst of the chaos, you will not find it standing at the peak of success either. That truth leads us to the most important decision you need to make today, if you don't want to end up with regrets like mine. So, if there is only one thing I hope you truly take to heart today, it is this: stop waiting. The phrase "I'll be happy when" is one of the most expensive lies I ever believed for over half a century. It kept me in a state of postponed living, where the present was always sacrificed for a future that never arrived. I wasted too many years just preparing to live, instead of actually living. You need to understand that you don't have to be perfect to have the right to be at peace. You don't need anyone out there to validate you to see that you have value, and you don't need to accumulate one more achievement before you can start enjoying this life. Remember this clearly: you are not one achievement away from peace. You are not one paycheck away from fulfillment, and you are not one more year of waiting away from your life. You are enough, right here and right now. If these words touched a hidden corner of your soul, please send them to someone you know who is also exhausting themselves chasing distant illusions, and share with me in the comments below. What is your "I'll be happy when"? What are you still waiting for to happen before you allow yourself to truly live? If you want to hear more honest and profound conversations like this about the human journey, stay here with me. Thank you for listening to this message from an old letter.